Hello, East West. I've been playing around with some ENL tools that I wanted to share with you to help us support our ENL students. So one of the things that I've been trying to work on is considering how I can more thoughtfully differentiate for the different levels of ENL students. So just a reminder of what those levels are, because sometimes I need a little refresher. I'll give you a second to look at this. So one tool I've been playing around with, thinking about these different levels, is Diffit. And Diffit, I'll look at this with you in a second, can give us visual supports for a text. It can create grade leveled text. It can translate parts of a text or have some translated supplements. It has supplemental vocab that it can create for a text. It can create multiple choice and open-ended questions. And it's got a ton of graphic organizers. So let me hop over and show you how you might consider using this. So one of the texts that I start the year with is Mary Rowlandson's Captivity Narrative. It was a bestseller back in the day. So if I copied and paste this over in to Diffit, let me just go through this with you and show you what you might consider using with it. All right, so it creates this resource, and maybe I want to use a different image, but it could create different images that I might use with the text. I could keep it in the original format, or I could create a different grade level. I could translate some or all of this. Maybe I want to do the passage. Maybe I just want to do vocab. Maybe I want to do the short answer. I could translate it. If I change the grade level, I can regenerate it, and I could also create a different length. Like maybe I want to make this a longer text, even though it's in a lower, Lexile level at a lower grade. So I could play with the length of the text there. It will create a summary for students, which is really helpful for ENLs. It can have supplemental vocab, and it creates multiple choice, short answer, and open-ended. With any AI, of course, you want to vet this and make sure it's still reflective of what you want students to be working on, and that it aligns with your standards and everything. So let me come back over here and just tell you how I've been thinking about this, and maybe it will be helpful to you. Let me pop to the next slide. So for example, my fourth period class last year, I had Keshin, who was like emerging transitioning level student who needed, and many of you probably know these kids, needed a lot of English support. Kind of more in the transitioning expanding level was Zibo, and these might be slightly off their official level, but kind of just thinking about their performance in my class. Zibo still needed support, but had more command of English than Keshin did. And Yihua, also an ENL student who was pretty proficient, but still needed some support. So these are ENL students, all of whom are in my class, your classes, but their levels are very different. And I need to do a better job, I think, of addressing those levels within my instruction, and not just using Google Translate for like the lower level kids or less proficient speakers. So this is just something I'm thinking about as I'm using Diffit. So for example, for Keshin, maybe I would make this text, because it's pretty difficult, maybe I'd make this a third grade reading levels, because then she could still read it in English. This is not necessarily as difficult a text. I'm hoping that it's at a level she could get through. Maybe I would adjust the length for her to help her out with that. I also might give the summary in Chinese. I also might give the vocab in Chinese. So I think, if I was really supporting Keshin and also trying to help her acquire English in my class, this might be how I differentiate this text for her. For Zibo, he's at a little bit higher level. So maybe I would put the text at like a 7th grade Lexile level for him. And this, I think, might be more manageable for him. He's still reading, getting the same content and the same narrative, but it's hopefully at a level that he can, is more comfortable for him. There's still a summary for him, and the vocab is there to support him as well. For Yihua, I think, maybe 9th grade level might be appropriate for her. She can read at a higher level, but maybe not, like a little bit below the original text could help her. So if I was translating this for her or adapting this for her, maybe I'd have the text at this level and she'd still have a summary. The vocab at this level is also a little bit higher. So I think, this has some real options for supporting ENLs more intentionally based on their level. And I'm really kind of geeking out about it. It also has so many graphic organizers that you can generate. Like, hold on, let me move there we go. See all export options. There's so many graphic organizers that you can use for a text, and all quickly look at those with you. Excuse me. So let me move my face. There's different printable options for writing, for reading, for summarizing, for vocabulary. I'm going through these fast, but you might look at these more, on your own reading strategies. There's, I hope this isn't too fast. There's ones for writing. So all of these, of course, you would want to vet and kind of think about their intention and purpose in your own classroom, but this is kind of awesome. Let me show you how one might work if I was doing this, and maybe I would choose, different things to export. Maybe I wouldn't do all of these, but if I was doing the Mary Rowlandson, let me just show you what this could look like as an example. And I haven't used this a lot yet. I can't wait to look at this with Pepitone and Geller and think about how we might use it, but it could create a document like this. And there's the text. And again, maybe I would use 3 different versions of this, right? Depending on my ENL students. The summary, the vocab, multiple choice, which I may or may not use, short answer, again, I may or may not use, open-ended questions. I mean, this is pretty cool. So that's just what I'm thinking about. I thought I would share with you, and can't wait to talk about this more in this coming school year. Thanks.